Hello, my BCC high school Baron teacher friends. Happy short week. Um, as you see, it's a baseball cap day. Does that mean Brian didn't take a shower yet? Do you judge me? Yeah, you do. Today, we're talking about talking points. I don't know if you've heard as much about it as I've had. The first person who actually told me about it was Liz Contos because I think they were pushing it in her staff development Zoom. A lot of people have been talking about it in the context of ESOL. We're not sure if you are aware of it, but people are raving about this thing. So I wanted to take a closer look and see if this is truly the game changer that we've been waiting for. And so let's get right into it so you know why you should care and what I personally think about it. So what is Talking Points? Talking Points sends communication in the mother tongue. IB Talk, you're proud of me, Michelle and Caitlin, mother tongue. But yes, it will send communication in mother tongue to the parent and the student of their preference. And so it has a website and it has a phone app for teachers to send communication. And then that communication goes to the family's cell phone. There also is an optional family app that they can download and get it through there. But as you'll see, that's one of the advantages. They don't even need to have any type of app. They don't even need a smartphone. But it will send your communication directly to the parent and potentially student in your class in whatever is their native language. The other thing that people are raving about is how amazing the translations are. For example, my wife's secretary actually is hosting people from Ethiopia, and she tried it out with them with some messages she wrote in English, and then it translated into Amharic, and the people staying with them were amazed at how good the translation were, much better than Google Translate or anything like that. So that is definitely a selling point. Um, uh, it would allow you as a teacher to log in for free and add as many as 200 students within 5 classes. And you would sign in for free with that .NET Google account. Now, why should you be excited about this? Well, the obvious thing is that this is the easiest way that I've seen that we are going to be able to engage our hardest families that we work the hardest to try to include. Those are people who are non-native English speakers, multilingual speakers, but are not necessarily as confident in their English skills, and their children who also may be learning English. And that's how we often try to communicate with them, despite our valiant efforts to use the multiple language services that MCPS has. But this has by far the easiest way that I've seen to communicate. And I have to trust the people who are looking at these translations. If they're translating them better than what you normally get online, that's an amazing upgrade. Now, here's another thing. When a parent or student receives this text message, there is a feature called Help Me Understand. And so if they get this message from you that's translated into whatever their native tongue is, and they don't understand it because maybe the translation seems to be off, they basically push a button and it sends it to human translators who will then work with that family to make sure that they understand what the message actually says. For free. It's crazy. Now, some other things. The parent and the student doesn't even need to log in or set anything up. Basically, you kick this off by sending them a text message to their phone and they're in. And that's it. Like, we don't have to worry about going through, technology problems. We don't have to worry about them downloading anything. We don't even have to worry about them having smartphones for it, because this is going to go to any cell phone when you get started. And that's pretty amazing. And when you are all doing this, even if you as the teacher are using the phone app, this does not reveal your personal phone number. Even that origination message, you are enrolling them, and so it's not actually coming from your phone. It's actually coming from the Talking Points website. Now, can you believe there's actually still more to be excited about this thing? As you can see, I'm pretty sold on this. It is fast. So you write one message and it automatically translates and then communicates and sends it in up to more than 100 languages to the families that you have enrolled. So if you've never used MCPS's language line because maybe you've just been intimidated by it, you don't even have to engage them at all. You go type what you normally would, push a button, and then the app or the website does all the translation for you, communicates it to the parents. You are essentially, when you're doing this, you're essentially sending a form letter, most likely. Maybe it's going to your whole class, or maybe it's going to a group of students, but you still can add personalized greeting form to this form letter. So that is an option within it. You can also schedule weekly reminders so that you don't have to go in and do it every day. You can do it ahead of time, and by a certain date or a certain day of the week, it's going to send that communication out to parents and students automatically because you've set it up ahead of time. And think about the ways that you can use this. This isn't just like, Johnny or Susie hasn't done their work yet, or we're still waiting, but you can also use this to send a positive message to an individual family about either how they've improved or just how they impress you as a student. And you don't have to worry about that. They're not going to understand what you're saying. And again, from your phone or from your laptop, push of a button, it's sent out there, and we can do some real positive messaging as well. And then there is an optional family app that the family can download, and it has extra features. So one of the features is the parents can use text to speech, and it will type what they would want to say, and they would be able to communicate back to you. Also, if the family downloads the app and reads things through the app, it will actually register that the family has read that message, and therefore you can see whether or not they're getting it. Now, that's only if they use the app. If they get the text message, it doesn't actually tell you whether or not they read the text message, but that would be wonderful information for us to have, that we know that parents are actually using that. But that is only if they use the app. Now, I try to have a little bit of credibility with you all because I try to give you the unvarnished truth, especially when I'm reviewing different products. So all the positivity that I just threw towards Talking Points is totally legitimate, but I want you to be aware that there are some limitations, at least for the rest of this school year, that you want to be aware of before you jump right in to Talking Points. So the first thing that you should be aware of is that currently the setup for your classes is going to be manual. So what that will mean is that you're going to have to go in and type in the name of each student that you want to add. And then you're going to have to go into My MCPS, and you're going to have to look up what is the language spoken at home, what are the phone numbers for the parents or guardians for these children that you want to communicate with. So my recommendation is that if you're going to use Talking Points for the last few weeks of this school year, only use it on your hardest to reach students. So if you have a student who has not logged in or is not turning in stuff, and you think it's because of language-based issues, this is going to be a wonderful tool that you can try one more way to get that kid engaged before the rest of the school year is over, and because nobody wants to have any incompletes. The other thing that you should be aware of is that if you're doing this manually, My MCPS is not going to have the cell phone number of your students in your class. And so if the people that you're most interested in touching base with are not the parents, but it's that your actual students and you don't have their cell phone number or you can't get it, then that's going to be an obvious limitation for right now. But think about when we come to the school year in the fall, you can create, and if we are teaching remotely in some way online, then you can set up some type of form where you can collect that type of information in your Get to Know You. So you can set up a Google form, and one of the things you ask for is a cell phone. And so then you would actually have that, and it would be a nice Google Sheet already organized for you to use. Last thing that you should be prepared for is that your messages are limited to 320 characters. So that's probably ideal anyway for it. Those of you who tweet are probably used to those limits. If you're a big mouth like me who has a hard time limiting even these videos for it, then that might be more of a challenge, but that is something that you should be aware of. Now let's come back to the positive side of things, because just because it's a limitation now doesn't mean it's going to be a limitation for next school year. And that's what I want you to be aware of. And so the biggest thing is that come July 1, MCPS is supposedly rolling out a new student information system. And that is supposedly going to allow you to batch export your class data, which then would already have your the parents' names, the parents' phone numbers, the parents' preferred language at home. All of that stuff would just be able to be exported and imported into it. The other thing that we can hope for is that MCPS is very aware of Talking Points as an app and a website that people are raving about. So after that student information system is launched, there's going to be direction and more support on how to use it. And maybe, I don't know this, I'm just throwing out there as a possibility, but maybe this is something that the school system gets a full subscription for. And why that might matter, just to show you, this is what the Talking Points app says in terms of pricing. This is all that's available to you for free over here on the left side. That's what I ran through for you. So like 200 student limit per teacher, a limit to 5 classes, which for most people, that's not going to be a problem. But if you're a world languages teacher and maybe you have a bunch of preps within one class and you have others, that could be problematic. But over here on the right-hand side, you have what would be available to us if the school system gets a full subscription. You wouldn't have any limit on these, plus a whole bunch of other tools that are going to be included. So I throw that out there as just pure conjecture. I haven't even heard rumors that the county is looking at purchasing Talking Points at all, but at least there's going to be a new information system that will allow you to export and then quickly import all of your students into your Talking Points classes if you want to use that. And then it can go to even your English speakers within your class. And that will be a much easier setup in the fall. So to conclude, yes, I think this app really is a game changer, especially for those students who especially people like me who are pathetically monolingual and has a difficulty navigating the world of second language. And then here we have our families who are multilingual, and how frustrating it must be for them that they work so hard to communicate with us in the school, and they want to do what's best for their kids, but they just are struggling with the language. This can be another tool that seems to be much easier than anything else that I've seen, that is going to help break down those barriers and help us reach them. So I hope you explore Talking Points and consider utilizing it, whether it's now or in the fall. Take care.